Greetings, everyone. We're going to get started in just a minute. We're going to let folks join the webinar, and then we will start in just a minute. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today for an ASU webinar about preparing for the spring semester, the upcoming spring semester. This is a webinar for new and incoming students to ASU and your families, and we thank you for joining us today. My name is Katie Packwood. I'm the Vice President of Media Relations and Strategic Communications here at the university. And joining me today are a couple of guests who are going to help answer questions. If we could advance to the next slide. A couple of hosts with me today. We have Dr. Fred Corey, who's our Vice Provost for Undergraduate Education. He's going to answer questions about class schedules and learning on campus and remotely via ASU Sync. Fred, say hello. Also joining us is Dr. Cassandra Aska. She's our Deputy Vice President and Dean of Students in Tempe, and she's here to answer questions about class and programming for the spring semester and what life on campus is going to look like. Also joining us today is Brian Matson, and Brian Matson is the Executive Director of the Graduate College, and he's here to talk about what the graduate experience will look like for the spring semester. And we're also really happy to have Quinlan Ashlock with us today. She's our student panelist. She was here in the fall semester and can talk about what life on campus was like then. She attended classes both via ASU Sync and in person, and so she's got a really great perspective on what life on campus looks like right now. Let's go to the next slide. So just a little bit about today's webinar. We are aware that the impacts of COVID-19 are ongoing, and we know that you may need flexibility on where and how you will attend classes in the spring. And the good news is we've got one semester under our belt during COVID-19, actually 2 semesters now. And we've learned quite a few things, and we're excited that we're going to be offering courses in a variety of learning environments to continue to accommodate student needs. We will be offering in-person classes via ASU Sync, which are remote classes delivered through Zoom, and of course, iCourses, which are courses that are delivered 100% online. Today, we're going to be talking about what you need to do to prepare for the spring semester at ASU and how you can begin engaging with ASU even over the winter break. The first 20 to 30 minutes of this webinar are going to be a discussion around some of the most commonly asked questions that we received. And then we'll take live questions from Zoom webinar registrants only during the remaining 30 minutes of the webinar. So we encourage you to ask your questions after the first 15 to 20 minutes in case we address them during our the front end of the webinar. You can type your questions in the Q&A function. We are not going to be answering questions via the chat function. Anyone watching the live stream on YouTube can send any unanswered questions to deanofstudents@asu.edu. And of course, this webinar will be recorded and shared online afterwards. Next slide. Okay. Before we begin, we are going to be talking a lot about ASU Sync in today's webinar. And so for anyone who's looking for detailed information, we'll be, again, covering a lot of ground. But if you want to read more about it, learn more about it, you can visit provost.asu.edu/sync/students. Next slide. All right, Spring 2021 preview. Next slide. What is what exactly is ASU Sync? Fred, I'm going to turn to you.
All right, great. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to ASU. We are absolutely thrilled that you're going to be joining us this spring. ASU Sync is a technology-rich, interactive learning environment. It's really an integration of several technologies. It includes Zoom, of course, like the platform we're in right now, but it also includes our learning management system of Canvas, as well as My ASU. That's your portal, your point of entry to all of the resources available at the university. There are 4 characteristics of the ASU Sync platform. First, it is live, that it exists in synchronous time, and that's why it's called Sync. Sync is short for synchronous, and that means that it is occurring in real time. It is flexible in that it provides you with the flexibility to oftentimes be either in the classroom or in a remote location. It's experiential, that you do have that actual experience of the learning environment through ASU Sync. And finally, it can be personalized. It is actually can be kind of intimate, where you establish one-on-one relationships with people through the Zoom platform, through breakout groups, or by having, for example, office hours with your faculty member. So it is, on the whole, it's a really technology-rich learning environment.
So Quinlan, I'm going to put you on the spot. Would you tell us a little bit about your experience taking classes via ASU Sync?
Yes, so as you stated earlier, I am a junior studying elementary education, and this semester I had opportunities both in person and online experiencing classes. I think something that Dr. Corey just said as well with the breakout rooms and the collaboration, I think is one of the aspects of the ASU Sync that I really appreciate, is that even with half the students in class and half online, we're still able to collaborate with our classmates and get that important collaboration and education, get that, and to learn from each other. Something else that I appreciated is the microphones that are in the classroom. So whether I was online or in person, I could hear the students that were also virtual and the students that were in the classroom, thanks to the ASU technology that was in all of our classrooms. And I think also our professors were very collaborative and communicative with us, which was also helpful to make our semester successful, whether we were online or in person.
Thank you for sharing your experience. Let's go to the next slide. Will any of my classes be taught through ASU Sync Only? Fred, back to you.
Sure, possibly. We took all of our large classes over about 115 students, and moved those into the ASU Sync Only environment. And we did that out of caution for the virus, that we're not gathering in large groups. So the large classes will be ASU Sync Only, and some of the smaller classes, based on accommodations and situations, that will also be ASU Sync Only. I think the question you might have is actually, how do I know if a class is available by ASU Sync, or if the class is ASU Sync Only? And you can tell that when you look at the catalog, at the schedule of classes. If there is a building and a room there, then you can attend that class by ASU Sync, or you can go to the class, with one exception that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. If it only says ASU Sync and there's no building, no room, then that class is ASU Sync Only.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. So here are a little bit more details on how you can determine whether a class is being offered via sync or in person. Fred, do you want to walk through this slide a little bit?
Yes, so here's an example of the schedule. And see that little arrow there next to, like it says, applied food principles, and then there's an arrow. What you want to do is you want to click on that in order to get the class details. So click on that, and if it has this note, this class is not available via ASU Sync, then that would be what I was talking about just a moment ago. That class is not available by ASU Sync. Now, I do want to say that out of our 16,000 classes that we're teaching this spring, only 400 carry this note. So it's not that many classes that carry this note. The vast, vast, vast majority of the classes are available by ASU Sync.
Great. Next slide. Will I be required to go to class in person if I am uncomfortable doing so for health concerns? Fred?
I'll take that one.
Yep.
Absolutely. No. If you do not feel comfortable coming to the campus and attending in person, we can find you the options to attend remotely. That being said, we want to assure you that we have taken absolutely every precaution to make the campus environment as safe as possible. So when you walk into one of our classrooms, you'll have cleaning supplies provided right there in the room. So you walk into the room, you take out the cleaning supplies with the spray to spray down your personal space and make sure that's clean. We engage in social distancing throughout, and everybody is wearing a mask. So the classroom is actually a very safe place to be, and we encourage you to take advantage of in-person learning.
Quinlan, if I could actually turn to you to talk a little bit about your experience going to class in person too, because again, you were here, this past semester, and I think understandably, lots of students had some concerns about going to class in person. And so would just love to hear about your experience going to class in person.
Yes, of course. And I was one of those students that was very nervous and very concerned those first few weeks of school, deciding whether I was going to go in person and which days to go in person. I think what Dr. Corey was saying as well, in all the classrooms, there are wipes that I always take and wipe down where I'm going to sit in the chair that I'm sitting at before and after I sit in the class to protect myself and to protect the people that come after me in that classroom as well. I think I was very nervous to be around that many people in person, but there's stickers on the tables that tell you not to sit in certain places. I'm never right next to another person. Everyone wears their masks. And when you see things that go wrong on campus, there's people that you can report that to as well to keep you safe and keep everyone around you safe. But I think the main point that I want to make is that I was very nervous at first, but I think going to campus and taking that first initial step for me allowed me to feel more safe on campus and continue to get my education in person with these safety guidelines that ASU has put in place.
Great, thank you. Let's go to the next slide. If I know that I cannot attend any classes in person on campus this spring, what do I need to do?
Well, you need to select I courses, and those are the courses that are taught on the internet asynchronously. That is, you manage your own time in that course, or you take courses that are available by ASU Sync.
All right, next slide, please. All right, now we're going to move to the next section of the webinar, and we're going to really talk about how you can get involved at ASU. So let's go to the next slide. All right, Dean Aska, do you want to talk about our spring welcome events that are coming up?
Absolutely. First, let me also welcome each and every one of you to Arizona State University. We are looking forward to having you here with us this spring. And we have learned a lot of lessons throughout the past fall and have prepared opportunities for you all to engage outside of the classroom, to make connections with your peers and make connections with students who are continuing students here. And we do that through a series of different events and activities. As you can see on this slide, your colleges create opportunities to welcome you and to help you build an understanding and an affinity for your college and for your academic program. We also have our spring involvement fair. What we find is a lot of peer-to-peer connections are created through students' shared interests. And so we have over 1,000 student organizations at the university. Some meet virtually, some meet in person, again, abiding all by our COVID guidelines. And so we're inviting students to participate in that experience. And that's where you get exposed to the many student organizations that do exist at our university for you to hopefully participate in. And then we are also having what's called our Passport to Spring. And this one will be an in-person experience through our tabling efforts so that various student organizations and student leaders can speak with you face-to-face, again, abiding by our COVID guidelines. So this is our entry into the spring semester. You have the links here and you'll find opportunities and experiences through a whole host of different departments and different campus locations, as well as our virtual programs that any and all of our students can participate with in regardless of where they may be having the experience.
Excellent. Let's head to the next slide. All right. Tell us what students can look forward to in the spring. There's lots of things happening in addition to everything that you just talked about.
Sure, there are a lot of things, and I'm actually going to ask Quinlan to speak about this because Quinlan serves as our president for our Programming and Activities Board. So let's start off with Quinlan sharing about a lot of what her student organization is doing on behalf of students in support of their engagement this spring.
Yes, thank you. So like Dr. Aska said, I am the president of the Program Activities Board. So we plan weekly events throughout the whole school year. In the spring, you will find us at those involvement fairs at Passport to Spring. So come and talk to me, come and talk to our staff. We'd love to meet new students and welcome you to our organization and to all of the student organizations that are out there. In the spring, we have tons of events that are already in the works being planned for all of you new students that are joining us in the spring. Many types of events, live well events where you can get to know other students and relax and find your stress-free environment here at ASU, including games and workouts. Career events where you can start to make those connections between other people on ASU, hiring events, meeting with ASU alumni, even your first semester at ASU, you can start and make these connections right away. And then my favorite, the cultural and social events that we have on campus. Almost every single week at ASU, we are celebrating a different culture, a different heritage, something at ASU. We like to celebrate everything that we possibly can through events. Through culture at ASU, we have lots of events. And also in the spring, our PAB, our signature Programming Activities Board event, is our Devilpalooza concert, which is happening in February. So be a lookout for that. We have some exciting opportunities available for that concert, and as well as weekly events. So just like we showed on the last slide, Sun Devil Sync is the place to find all of these events, to register for these events. I encourage you over the next few weeks to search through that website and find all of these wonderful events that are happening for you in the spring as you come to us.
Sure. And you know, what's great is our students have taken advantage of our Sun Devil Fitness centers across all of our locations, and a lot of the resources there and services there are available through reservations. So we encourage students to participate in all of the classes that are available. And again, if you are more comfortable connecting remotely, we have those experiences available virtually. So again, we're very focused on ensuring that our students are being involved in the way that they are most comfortable, but we want you to take advantage of all of these co-curricular opportunities available for you at the university.
All right. Let's head to the next slide. Okay, anything additional to add on this one?
No, I think the only thing I'll add to what Quinlan has already shared, this is your go-to. You could go there now. You don't need to wait till the spring semester starts. You could go there now. You could start building out, you know, a calendar of things that you want to try. Mark your calendar to see if there's something that you want to have a specific experience with. So we really encourage you to familiarize yourself with Sun Devil Sync and to learn a lot about the organizations that exist and the various events that are already planned for the spring semester. And they will continue to populate. So every day that you go back on, and certainly as we get closer to January 11th, there'll be a lot more there for you to choose from.
Okay, let's head to the next slide. Big question on everybody's mind, is spring break canceled?
And we understand that you want certainty during these very, very uncertain times. You know, our president, Michael Crow, has talked a great deal about the importance of resiliency and flexibility and staying ahead of this virus. We acknowledge that changing the schedule causes a great deal of stress, and it's certainly something we prefer not to do. So we are continuing to monitor the situation, and we're following recommended health guidelines and making decisions about the academic calendar. And as soon as decisions are made, we will communicate them with you.
Okay, next slide. So one big question, and Dean Asker, you hit on this a little bit. Why wait until spring? You can get involved at ASU now. So in our next section of the webinar, we're going to talk a little bit about the opportunities that we have available for students. So let's go to the next slide. All right, here we're going to talk about how you can engage with ASU over winter break. Fred, do you want to talk about the innovation?
Yeah, you just have got to check it out. Go to innovation.asu.edu. We have hundreds of programs, events, activities, things that will engage you and delight you and educate you on all sorts of fun things. Some of the topics are related to innovation itself, but we've also we've gotten the whole university coming together, preparing programs on professional development, career planning, interesting book club type events that will engage you. You've got to go check it out just to see all of the things that are there, see what speaks to you, see what jumps out, sign up for something, and become involved during this break period. You can do it today.
I heard there was a cookie decorating class available, which sounded kind of fun to me.
Yes.
Okay, next slide. So you just hit on.
Yeah, here are some of the events.
Yeah, maybe you can talk a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at the kinds of things that are there, but it's things that involve the community, that involve some intellectual topics about COVID, you know, the biology of COVID itself. These are just some of the things that are going on. So as I said, just go to innovation.asu.edu and take a look at all of the things that are available. They're all free too. They're no charge, all for you.
I would just also add that this is available to the community. So for those parents who are tuned in, you're welcome to join. Or if you have, friends and other family members that you think might be interested in any of these opportunities, share the link, spread the word. It's open, it's free, and we've got about 4 more weeks left of programming available for people. So no shortage of innovation activities to participate in. Let's go to the next slide. All right, our next section is going to be about living on campus, what life on campus in the residence halls is going to look like, and dining options and things of that nature. So let's head to the next slide. Can I still apply to live on campus this spring if I am not a first-year student? Dean Asker?
Yes. That is the answer. So whether you are a first-year student, you're an upper class student, you're a graduate student, if you are interested in living on campus, we encourage you to go through your My ASU housing portal and submit your application. We do have space available for students, and so we are encouraging you to put in the application and come live with us on campus.
All right, next slide. I want more information about on-campus dining. What are my dining options? Will my choices be limited to just takeout food? Can you talk a little bit about this, Cass?
Absolutely. This is a great question, and we understand the importance of people understanding. The nice thing about our university and in working with our dining partners is that we were able to retain our all-you-could-eat dining halls are all open to our students, coupled with retail options that are also open to our students. Now, we do eat outdoors, so individuals can go into the dining hall, get what they want to have, and then go outdoors and eat. And with the all-you-can-eat plan, within an hour with your receipt, you go back into the dining hall and get some more food if that is what you would like. But the nice thing is that our students have options. So if you're living on campus, or even if you're coming onto campus to either work, if you choose to get an on-campus job, or you're participating in your class in person, you will have dining options on campus for you to eat.
Okay. This is going to be our last section. We're going to be talking about health on campus. So now would be a good time to maybe start writing your questions into the Q&A function. We'll be turning to those shortly, but let's go ahead and go to the next slide. What is a daily health check and how do I access it? Cass, you want to take this one?
Absolutely. Excellent question. And I would love for Quinlan after to talk about perhaps her experience interacting with our daily health check. But one of the things that we have done as an institution is looked at various ways in which we address COVID. And it's our COVID management strategy. And you could read about that online through our website. But at the end of the day, you are being welcomed into a community that cares. And what that means and what that looks like is that we are completing our daily health checks. And I'll share a little bit more with you about that. But we're also wearing our face coverings. We are also staying physically distant from each other, 6 feet apart. We're also washing our hands and utilizing our hand sanitizers. And our university has hand sanitizers placed in all over the campuses. Every door you enter and so forth, you'll be able to find that. Being very mindful about any gatherings that, we are maintaining safe and limited numbers. And all of these are strategies in order to mitigate the spread. And so again, we're welcoming you to this environment where we're being very thoughtful about each other's health and well-being. So the daily health check is one tool in that overall management strategy. It's a quick application on your phone, on your mobile, or you could also do it via your computer, where it asks you critical questions about what the symptoms may be connected to COVID. And if you say yes to any of those, it's a prompt to say, hey, check in with our ASU Health Services with your medical provider. Let them ask you a couple of questions and then guide you through that process. So it's a proactive way for all of us to remain attentive to how we are feeling. We encourage individuals, students, faculty, and staff, if they're not feeling well, stay home, focus on your well-being. The nice thing with us having ASU Sync is that you could still participate in your class, even if it's just, hey, it was nothing. But again, it's one of our proactive strategies in order to help us stay aware about the spread of the virus within our university environment. So Quinlan, can you talk a little bit about your experience with the app too?
Yeah, so I know I've heard from some students that it seems annoying you have to do it every day, but now there is also a new feature where you can schedule out the days you won't be on campus. So for the next 3 weeks, I know I'm not going to be on campus until January. So I have it scheduled out so I don't get reminders every day because I've already filled out and told the app when I will be on campus and when I won't be on campus. So that's a very helpful tactic, and you are still being proactive and you're still providing the university with your information, whether you be on campus or not. I also think it's helpful, even if I have a headache, I'll go on the app and look at my daily health check and look at the symptoms and see, should I be more concerned or am I okay for right now? So that's also a nice check just for you and for your thinking about whether you might be feeling symptoms or not. And then while you're on the ASU app, you can check out the things to do tab as well and get involved through our ASU app online as well.
Excellent. And for all of you that are new students, this will start for you on January 4th. So leading up to January 4th, you'll receive email information about your MyASU, about your daily health check, and then it'll start for you on January 4th. You'll receive reminders, and we do that proactively. Again, everybody in our community participates in this. And so if you have questions, we have a great website that has additional details that will be able to answer any question that you may have.
Okay, let's head to, there we go. Next slide. Do I need to download the ASU mobile app?
Absolutely. You see Quinlan shaking her head yes. In addition to this being an easy place to access, one of the 3 easy ways to access your daily health check, it's a wealth of resources at your hands. Everything from what's open on campus with regards to dining or where you can go. There's interactive maps that you could get. You could schedule it for your interests for different events and activities. So we strongly encourage that all of our students download this app to their phones so that they could stay informed and engaged through the My ASU Mobile App.
Great. Next slide. How does COVID-19 testing work for students, and is it free? Cass?
The answer is yes, the testing is free. So we encourage you to test as often as you would like. Again, this is another good reason to have your app on your phone, because you could go through your app to access your My ASU Health portal. And then through the health portal, you're able to schedule your test at any of the many locations that are affiliated with the university. The university offers faculty, staff, and students specific testing sites just for them, while as a university, we're supporting multiple testing sites for the larger community. So that's one of the wonderful aspects of our community that cares for ourselves and for the greater public. But you can schedule your appointment through online, and then be able to get follow-through information from ASU Health Services. The other part of our strategy at the university is that we have selective testing as well. So individuals will receive emails saying, hey, you are expected to go and test, and you have a window by which you complete that test, 2 days, and you'll get reminders for that. And again, that's another one of our strategies to support, and you'll be directed through your email as far as how you follow through on that. But all testing is free, and it's available on our university campuses.
Thanks, Cass. Next slide. What will happen if someone in my residence hall or my class tests positive for COVID-19?
Sure. Great question. Again, we are in an environment where we are managing this particular spread to the best of our abilities. And so if a student tests positive, particularly if they're living in the residential halls, then first and foremost, to receive notification that you have tested positive, that will also be securely available through your My ASU Health portal. And so a member of our ASU Health Services team will be your first point of contact to provide you with additional information and next steps. And you will also receive several pieces of information in your My ASU portal that you could refer to whenever you're needing to, if you have questions, in addition to contacting one of our providers within our ASU Health Services. Through that, if the room that you are in does not adhere to CDC guidelines for what's necessary for isolation or quarantine, then we will partner with our university housing team to relocate you for the period that you need to be relocated in the residential halls for you to stay there to complete your isolation or quarantine period. During that time, our university does provide you with meal service that gets delivered to your room. If you are living on campus, simultaneously, the Dean of Students office, that's the office that I'm affiliated with at all of our locations, connects you to what we call a professional staff that we call our engager, and they're available to answer any ongoing questions that you may have throughout your time of isolation. Certainly if there's impact to you participating in your classes, or there's specific resources that you need or services that you need, they are your point person for that period of time. The other important piece of our process is our exposure management, and that is where the conversation will take place with our health providers. If there's anybody else that you feel may have been exposed to you, and then they will receive the necessary information. This is why in our environment, as we continue to support everybody in recognizing what our community of care guidelines are, is having and maintaining that physical distance, wearing the face covering, washing hands, staying home when you're sick, utilizing the daily app. All of those pieces help us so that we could address, if individuals are positive, they go through the steps in order to get support till they're done with their isolation.
All right, thanks for all of that information. Let's go to the next slide. If I'm living on campus this spring, will I need to get a COVID-19 test before the semester starts?
The answer is yes, and we can move right into the next slide because it has additional details. So for all of you that are new to the university, you will be expected, if you are living on campus, to have a negative PCR test in order for you to move into the residential hall. And then within the period of January 2nd and January 10th, you'll also be required to test on campus. So the only exception to this, and again, you all are new. So the only exception is if you have tested positive between October 1st and December 31st, then what we are asking you to do is to upload your test results and the medical release to your ASU housing portal, which is again a secured portal site for you. If this raises questions for you, then we ask that you contact our ASU Health Services proactively. If we go to the next slide again. So for those of you who are new and you're from Arizona and you're going to be living on campus, we're actually encouraging you to test between January 5th and January 7th, and then you wait for your results at home, and then pending your negative results, you then come onto campus and move into your residential hall. Again, the sites are listed here for you where you can go in order to get your free COVID test. For our students who may be traveling out of state or out of country, then certainly you would secure your PCR test and that it would be negative prior to your departure from wherever you're coming from within 7 days of you traveling, and have that uploaded to your My ASU so that gives you access to get into the residential hall. And then from there, everybody, as stated earlier, will be required to test again once they are on campus prior to the first day of classes. All of this is part of our strategy, again, to mitigate the spread of the virus. If you are not living on campus, we are asking that before you come to campus, that you should test for COVID-19 prior to attending any of your classes. And again, you could test at any of our university sites on campus. Both residential and off-campus students, as well as faculty and staff, all must participate in our random testing when selected, which is what I spoke to a little bit earlier.
Okay. What mental health and wellness services are available to students?
Sure, this is a great question. And as I was sharing earlier, we have our ASU Health Services, which is our provider for our students on campus, that you could utilize the services there, and they will guide you for any additional services that you may need. But we also have our ASU Health Services on campus, our ASU Counseling Services on campus. And so that is another resource that's available to you. And through ASU Counseling Services, not only do we have professional staff available to meet with you and to speak with you and provide that through telehealth medicine. So if you need to do that virtually, we are also providing that service for you. But we also have support circles. So if there are different interests or different connections or different topics that are particularly of interest to you, you could connect with individuals in that particular space. We also have similar cohorts coming together, which is a peer facilitated conversation to support students. We always know that, managing stress and managing concerns that folks have, exercising plays a critical role. So participating in any of our wellness programming that's available through our Sun Devil Fitness Center, some of which our student organizations are also providing, are also connections for our students while they're here on campus.
Okay, next slide. All right, well, that concludes our preset questions portion of the webinar. And now we're going to move into questions from our audience members. And I have, let's see, we've got a couple questions here. The first one is from one of our webinar attendees. This individual is wondering if students really do use the cleaning supplies that are available in the classrooms. And so Fred, Quinlan, maybe both of you could speak to this.
Yes, they certainly do. It's crazy not to. Yes, everybody I saw constantly every day walked in, and just as Quinlan described, you clean it out before and you clean it out after, and you keep that environment very safe and clean. Quinlan, what did you notice?
I think along with that, our professors are also encouraging it as you walk into the classroom. It's very easy to hand sanitizer almost at every single door as you walk into each classroom. So that's helpful too. If you even forget, it's right there available to you. But I think students do clean around and use those supplies because they are free and available to you conveniently. Excellent.
All right, our next question is, for a student starting a new a new freshman in the spring and attending classes 100% remotely via Sync, what steps do you recommend for connecting with the professor, counselors, and tutors for academic help? Fred?
I would drop a note to your professor and set up an appointment. I met with students before the semester started in the fall, and it was really very fun. Just drop a note to your professor and say, I'm in your class and I'm really looking forward to it, and this is why I'm taking the class, and ask if you can just schedule 30 minutes to Zoom and talk to the professor. The tutors, now tutoring is available in person and remotely. Check it out, tutoring.asu.edu, and you'll see lots of options there in terms of how you can get your tutoring. And what's the third thing you said, advisors?
Professors, counselors, and tutors for academic help.
All right, so we call them academic advisors here. And so yes, you should definitely be in touch with your academic advisor. I assume you already have, to make sure that you're scheduled for the right courses for the spring semester. But again, go to My ASU, click on that tab over on the right-hand side for advising, and schedule an appointment with your advisor. And you can meet in person or through Zoom, and that works out really quite well.
Thanks, Fred. Our next question is, when should one apply for RA or TA positions, and what is the procedure for spring 2021?
I think I could take that one. This is a great question. So your best course of action, of course, is to reach out to your academic advisor in your program. If you're not sure who that is yet, you can find that information on My ASU. And if you don't see it there, of course, the general contact information for the program is there, and you can reach out. The reason you want to do this is they're going to be the most familiar with what's available in your particular program. Another resource you could go to is the Graduate College website. There's a funding page that's dedicated to all the different opportunities that are available to you. So I'd recommend going after everything you can.
Okay. What does Residence Hall move-in day look like, and will family be allowed to participate? Cass?
So we know this is an exciting time for our students and for our families. So we are asking that if you are moving with individuals, is no more than 2 individuals moving in with you, helping you to move in, and that those individuals abide by all of our COVID guidelines. So wearing their face covering, maintaining physical distance from others, washing hands, and so forth. And certainly if they're not feeling well, then we're asking you to proactively not have that particular individual help you with that process. Although we recognize that it is a celebratory time for you, but we're also wanting to be very cautious and heightening our cautiousness with regards to the conditions that may be around us.
Okay. Is the mental health program free?
So I could also answer that question. ASU Counseling Services, yes. So our students can go to ASU Counseling Services and work with them directly. And then if there are any additional more specific things, they can have conversations with our students more directly based on whatever their case scenario is.
Okay. Let's see. That's it actually for our questions. I am going to do kind of a last call for questions. And if there aren't any more that come in, we can wrap early here. But as we wait for more questions, Fred, Brian, Cass, Quinlan, anything else you'd like our webinar participants to know about or take away or think about as they start to prepare for the spring semester?
I will share this. We do have our community of care package that was created for our community at the beginning of the fall semester. And so those will be available for students again this spring, and students can pick those up from the ASU bookstore on their respective campus. And those are great because they provide students with Sun Devil, ASU Sun Devil branded face coverings. It has a thermometer in there. It has some wipes for them in their hands and hand sanitizers. So we encourage you to pick yours up at the beginning of the spring semester.
And where can students pick them up?
They can pick them up from the ASU bookstore.
Great. Okay. Fred, any last comments for?
I would repeat, welcome to ASU. These are very unusual times in our world, and this is absolutely a great time to advance your education. We have never needed an educated society more than we do now. And regardless of your discipline, I mean, we need excellent scientists and we need excellent teachers like Quinlan. We need people who understand the arts and letters. We need people who understand business and the economy, and engineers. More than ever, we need you to follow your passions, follow your dreams, get yourself educated, and really enjoy your ASU experience in the context of these very unusual circumstances.
And Fred, I think we had a couple of international students that had registered to participate. Anything specific that you want to say to international students who maybe headed our way?
Well, we're having a special orientation for international students, and I hope you know about that. If you don't, drop a note to provost at asu.edu, and we'll make sure you have that information. International students should be in touch with our International Scholars and Student Office, because each individual international student has special circumstances depending on which country they're coming from. So I don't know, Brian, if you have anything additional on our international student front.
No, that's exactly right. Stay in contact with, of course, ISSC and attend that orientation. Very important.
And the slide that just appeared on the screen has all of that information about international student arrival orientation, transfer student experience, and then family orientation. So we'll leave that up for a second, and folks can write down those URLs. Brian, any other words of advice?
I don't think I could say it any better than Dr. Corey said it.
Okay. Quinlan, any words of advice for your fellow Sun Devils who are joining us soon?
I think after today, you've received a ton of information from us, and I'm sure over the next few weeks, you'll receive even more information. So just continue asking questions and looking for those resources, and finding your place at ASU is the best thing you can do right now to help prepare for you to come back in the spring. And as everyone has said, we're so excited to have all of you here virtually or in person. We're excited for our new Sun Devils.
Thank you. We had one last question that came in, actually 2 questions that came in here. So since we have more time, we'll get through those. Are the community of care packs free? And I know the answer to that is yes. I see Dean Aska shaking her head. The other question is, for sync classes, is there a chance they could resume in person, or would they be online throughout the entire semester? Fred, you want to talk about that?
Well, we're trying to stay nimble and stay flexible. But if somebody, when we start the semester, if you are going to be remote the entire semester, you will be able to remain remote, but we may be able to increase in-person opportunities depending on the spread of the virus.
And Fred, I apologize if you covered this at the top of the webinar, but can you just remind our viewers how many classes we anticipate having both an in-person and ASU Sync option?
Oh boy.
I think it's 87% of our undergraduate classes.
Yeah.
We are anticipating to have an in-person and ASU Sync option. So we really understand that for a lot of students, they want that in-person option. And so we've worked really hard to make sure that that's available for a large majority of our classes for the spring semester. I think that's a wrap. We have no more questions that have come in, and I know we're ending a little bit early, but for those of you who asked questions through the chat that may not have been answered here, we will follow up with those offline. Some of those are really specific questions to your personal situation, and so we want to make sure that we get you that information that you need. So we will have people follow up with you. And if you have any questions about ASU, there's a variety of ways that you can contact us. We've put them up on our screen here. There's a website where you can find specific information about spring 2021. For course degree requirements or class schedule options, you can contact provost at asu.edu. If you think you're going to need technology, if you need a laptop or you need a Wi-Fi hotspot, we have those resources available for you. And so you can contact provost at asu.edu and let us know what your need is, and we will make sure that you have what you need in order to complete the semester successfully. If you have questions about student services or life on campus, you can contact Dean of Students, or you can call 480-965-6547. If you have any questions about cleaning or facilities or any of our operational questions, you can contact bf-operations@asu.edu. And if you're an admitted graduate student or you have questions, you can contact grad-gps@asu.edu or visit graduate.asu.edu. And before I say goodbye, Dean Aska would like to clarify one question. So go ahead, Dean Aska.
Sure. I think the question that was posed is mental health support free? And I answered that with ASU counseling services. And so one of the things that we want our entire community to know is not to let finances impact your ability to reach out for resources. Connect with the offices and then they'll work with you. But there is no initial charge for any initial consultation or walk-in services for crisis. But again, as there may be some other needs, then there may be some fees associated with that with regards to individual ongoing counseling. So just wanted to clarify that for folks, but we never want finances to stand in the way between our students and utilizing and accessing the resources that are here for you.
All right. Thanks so much for clarifying that. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. We're really excited that you're going to be part of our ASU community. We're excited to see you, as Quinlan said, either virtually or in person. And we're really hopeful that you're going to have a great spring semester. We're not hopeful. We know that you will. Please contact us if you have any questions or any needs. We're here to support you and serve you and make ASU a great experience for you. So thanks again. Have a great rest of your Friday and a wonderful weekend. Thanks, everyone. And thanks to all of our panelists.
Thank you.